Welcome to Faith and Service. I'm here with Trent Bickley, and we're going to be talking about Trent's life and also his engagement with the Get On Our Lawn series that we had earlier this year. Trent, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey of faith and how you ended up at Good Samaritan.
Okay, so I grew up moving around a lot across the U.S. My parents became Christian through Alpha, actually, shortly after I was born. So grew up in the church, bounced around. You might say I'm a cradle Anglican, baptized in the Episcopal Church in Denver. Spent my middle school, high school years in Toronto, Canada. And then I went to Wheaton College. And I moved out here shortly afterwards to start a job at Vanguard. And I've been coming to Good Sam since I moved out here. So.
Yeah, no, cool. So at what point in that growing up period do you think that your faith became your own rather than simply your parents'?
They sent me to a Christian summer camp when I was growing up, and kind of in that environment is when I kind of really took it on as my own faith and accepted Jesus there. And then in Toronto, Canada, the church that we went to and the high school I went to, there weren't really any other Christian students, so that was really when I kind of had to make the choice of like, okay, when I was little, I accepted Jesus and like grow up, go to the church with my parents, but it's like you either have to be a Christian, and you're really going to be a follower because you can't just be a cultural Christian in that environment. It wasn't like socially acceptable.
South America, everyone's going to church.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm a good Christian," and that just means I'm a good person. Like, if you were going to say, "I go to church," like that was not the normal thing that most people did there. So.
Great. And then you've been here for like 3 years?
About 2.5.
Yeah.
So when I moved out here, I didn't know a single person. There's a Wheaton alumni who works at Vanguard. Told him I was looking for an Episcopal church. He recommended Good Sam. Came here, met Ben.
Yep.
And
and here you are.
Here I am.
Yeah. So how have you found the last? How have you found the last 2.5 years of being here? In terms of just your faith journey and work and getting into that sort of adult life and all of that sort of thing?
I've enjoyed it a lot. I think it's been a cool experience because I grew up moving around so much that moving out here for a job was just kind of like, that's what we did when I was a kid. So it wasn't a new experience to me, but it was kind of, felt like I was on the other side of it this time. But I probably wouldn't still be living out here if it weren't for Good Sam, I'd say, and the community that I found here. When I started work, there was another guy that I started with who moved out here across the country from, I think, like Washington State. And not a religious person, didn't get connected into a community, and ended up like quitting after like 6 months and moving back home because he just didn't
get rooted and grounded.
Yeah, he didn't get rooted and grounded, but like the Phoenixville Young Adult Small Group has been a big connection for me. I actually moved to Phoenixville after my lease ended up. When I was moved out here, I lived in Bryn Mawr and then moved up to Phoenixville to be even more kind of connected with that.
With some of the Good Sam people in Phoenixville.
So
no, that's great. And so tell me a little bit about Get On Our Lawn. How did you get involved with that?
And so as I mentioned, I'm kind of pretty involved with the Good Phoenixville Small Group that Ben and Dan and Chris lead. So Ben asked me to be on the help plan and the visioning process of Get On Our Lawn. And so we met with that, kind of decided, he had a big vision for what it was going to be, but we kind of met a few times to hash out some of the smaller details, like what would be in scope, what would be out of scope of Get On Our Lawn. And then through that process, he asked me to lead the fun team of volunteers for Get On Our Lawn, which I was happy to oblige especially after I read the description. I was like, oh, so you mean I just get to play cornhole and make sure people are having fun and help you set up? Like, yeah, I can do that. That'll be easy.
That sounds great. So you're the head of the fun team. That's a great job description. So, and how did that go?
It went really well. I think I really liked how we did multiple times. So we kind of did like a pilot version in June, got everything set up, and Just leading the fun team, I've got some of my other friends, Josh Hall, Erica Knight, to help me out with that, and we basically just had to lead by example of what it meant to have fun at Get On Our Lawn and show people like, yeah, listen to music, enjoy the great food trucks, and then, you know, come play some lawn games. And I probably would have ended up playing cornhole most of the time anyway, but it felt like I was doing it more, took it more seriously, tried to really have fun with it. And
no, good. And it's been great to see people from the community come here, and some of our day school families have been out at Get On Our Lawn, and folks from the church. And
yeah, one of my friends from work on my team, she moved out here from Arizona and was living in Malvern, and was asking me like, oh, what is there to do around here, like in Malvern? And I was like, oh, actually, come get on our lawn.
No, good.
So it was nice to have that as a space to invite people from work to come to that live in the area that we're looking for things to do.
Yeah, no, that's excellent, and really important for us as a church as we look at just making invitation a really important priority for us.
Yeah.
So it's great to have had that experience this summer, and hopefully much more to come.
Yeah.
What do you think in terms of your engagement with Get On Our Lawn? What have you got out of that yourself, do you think?
So the first time that we had Get On Our Lawn, a huge thunderstorm rolled in right after we had finished setting up most of the stuff, and you always feel like you grow under adversity, and that panic scramble of trying to get everything inside in an orderly manner, and then rush to set everything back up after the sun came back out. So that was a good growing experience of
team building.
Team building of, all right, Ben, you're stepping up to lead us through this turmoil, and everyone just kind of stepped up and found some area that they could help in, and in that scramble of bringing everything in. As we were, I still remember standing on the stage and we were looking out and we saw the storm just in the distance, and kind of all looked at each other and were like, oh no, it's coming.
Yeah, no, I've told Ben to book Get On Our Lawn next year only for sunny days.
Yeah.
So, Trent, thank you so much for talking, and just great to hear just a little bit of an insight into that whole invitation thing and Get On Our Lawn, and thank you for the part that you've been in making that happen, and we're excited to see that as it rolls forward in the next season, and just helping us as a church think more about how to be inviters and welcoming to people. Thank you so much for joining us for this second video of our Faith and Service series, and we look forward to you joining us for the next one.